Hello, Kat here. Today I'm going to do my February wrap-up, and for this month I was reading queer women literature. So what does that mean? That means that one or two of the main characters were queer women, and I didn't want them to be side characters, I wanted them to be the actual main character. It's really hard to find main character representation of queer women in especially fantasy and sci-fi. So I really wanted to try my best to get some great examples this month. I read a total of 11 books, not including bonbons. I'm just going to jump right into it and give you guys a little summary of each book, and then at the end I'm going to give you my final recommendations of the books I really think you should read, and then my one super awesome pick that I really wish everyone would read so that we can talk about it, because really I just want to talk about it with someone. Okay, so let's just get started. The first book I read this month was A Petal and a Thorn by Belladonna's. It's a novel about a writer whose characters start to come to life. The next book I read was The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth, and this is the coming-of-age story about a girl who's in a small town in America, and she realizes she's probably queer and she's not like the other kids, and she wants to explore her sexuality, and it's just a really good tale about finding your own acceptance and coming into your own and being who you are meant to be. The third book I read was Sword of the Guardian by Mary Shannon, and this book is pretty awesome. I did have some problems with it, but as far as fantasy court assassination type things go, I really highly recommend it because it had one of my favorite characters of all time. If anyone reads this book, please let me know. I want to fangirl with you about Talon. So it involves a cross-dressing bodyguard named Talon and the princess that she is guarding. I have such a crush. Such a crush. Please someone fangirl with me, okay? Please. So the next book I read after that was The Porcelain Dove by Delia Sherman, and it is set in pre-revolution France, and it is the daily life of a maid serving her mistress. So after that I read Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters. Obviously it's super popular for a great reason. It is super sensual, super erotic. It follows a small town oyster girl through her sexual exploration and exploits, and she becomes an actress in London, and it's kind of so many things thrown together, and it's just like a circus of awesome things happening. And yeah, so that was awesome, and everyone knows it's awesome, so I don't really have to say it's awesome, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. After that, I read The Traitor Cormorant by Seth Dickinson. It's a hard fantasy novel featuring colonization, and it involves a girl whose island nation is colonized by another nation, and she decides that instead of giving in, she's going to study and rise within the ranks of the conquering nation so that she can destroy it from within. And oh my god, just everyone read this book. If you like fantasy, if you like hard fantasy, then please read this book. Please, everyone just read this book, okay? Okay, thank you. After that, I read Ash by Melinda Lowe, which is a lesbian retelling of Cinderella with some fae elements thrown in. After Ash, I switched it up and from fantasy to real life, and I read Rubyfruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown. So it starts off and it follows a girl who is totally unapologetic, and she realizes that the mold America has for her as a poor woman just isn't going to be her life. She's just not going to do that. She's not about it. So it's all about her breaking molds and being true to herself. It was just a hilarious read and pretty much great. After that, from such a hilarious read, I read Amy and Jaguar, A True Berlin Love Story, which is, of course, the true story of two women in Berlin. One is the wife of an officer, the other one is a Jewish woman hiding from the Nazis. I really recommend this book if you are into true life accounts of World War II and what happened to Jewish people. I think that this book is up there with The Diary of Anne Frank for me because it's just raw, totally raw. After that, I had finished all the books that I said I was going to read for the month, so I got on to my city's book club pick for the month, which is not FF, but I'm going to include it anyway because I totally did read it and I discussed it a lot with other people, so I wanted to discuss it with you guys, and that is Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer. I like his writing style. I had read another book by him, Eating Animals, and I was intrigued to read this one, which follows him as he is trying to find out about Augustine, who helped his grandfather escape Nazi persecution in the Ukraine. So he goes to Ukraine and he starts this journey with two Alexes and a dog. They're asking different questions, they're finding different answers, and it's all together quite a sensitive and heartfelt read. And the last book I read this month was Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst, and this is another YA fantasy court assassination war type book. It's told by two princesses as they're trying to deal with the events around them, and it also features heavily in horses and magic. So if you're into any of that goodness, then I would recommend the book to you. So I'm just going to talk about my picks of the month, and I'm not saying that any of the other books I read are horrible or awful or anything like that. For my true accounts of them, I guess check out my reviews, which I'm going to link down below. I review every book, but these are just the books that I'm like, wow, I will highly recommend them probably to anyone who asks me about that kind of book in that genre from now on, and they are in my list of most awesome books of all time. So in the realm of fantasy court, I highly recommend Sword of the Guardian by Mary Shannon. It had awesome character development, and it had some great plot twists, and it had a really, really awesome main character, and her name is Talon, and she's awesome. And if you've read this, please let me know, because I would love to fangirl with you. And then to this list, I'm gonna add the two books which are really famous and for quite a good reason once I read them: Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters and Rubyfruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown. If you don't know about these books, then you should. They're awesome lesbian classics, and for great reason. Rubyfruit Jungle is super funny, and she won't let anything hold her down, and she's totally unapologetically queer. And then Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters is a more innocent exploration. She doesn't even know what's kind of happening at first, and then it's her travel from small town innocence to dirty underbelly of sexual London, and then just all so much goodness. So I highly recommend both of those. The last book I'm going to recommend was my favorite of the month, and it's largely because I am a sucker for hard fantasy, sci-fi, dystopian, post-co type things. So I'm not saying this book is way better than the other three I just recommended. However, the setting is my jam. It is The Traitor Cormorant by Seth Dickinson. The main character is just amazing. Her name is Cormorant, and it follows her rise through the Empire's ranks that conquered her own nation. And it just totally blew me away emotionally. The writing style, just the like little threads woven in. I mean, it is just brilliant. So if you've read this book and you want to talk about it, please let me know. I would love to talk about this book with someone, because for some reason it's not that well known, and it totally should be. That is the wrap up for February FF. Let me know if you agree with my top picks. Let me know if you've read any of the other ones. Give me some great recommendations if you have them. Next month, for March, my boyfriend suggested I do monsters. So I'm gonna do a bunch of monster books, whether that be aliens, experiments, zombies, vampires, mermaids, sea creatures. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do a smattering of classics, Lovecraft, Wells, and modern ones. The Girl with All the Gifts, Feed, things like that. So look forward to that. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope that you read some of the books, because I really would love to talk about it. Have a great day, and happy reading!